Did you write down the truth values for these two formulas, David?
I did. And on the one on the left, we find it's a little bit easier because it starts with A and, which means anytime A is false, we can go ahead and write that this is false. When A is true, that means we can ignore it and evaluate solely based on B or C. Whenever either of them is true, the result is true, and only when both of them are false is the result false. So the one on the right is a little bit more complicated because for each of them, we need to look at both A and B and A and C. But because there's an or in the middle, that means once we discover that one of them is true, we don't need to really worry about the other one. A and B is true whenever both A and B are true, and so A and B are true here and here, meaning we can go ahead and say that those are true. We don't need to look at A and C here. Similarly, A and C are true here, so we can go ahead and say that this one is true as well. For all the ones at the bottom, A is false, which means it's going to go ahead and render both of them false. And for the fourth one, B and C are both false, meaning each individually is going to become false. So what we see here is that the truth values for these two formulas actually end up the same, so I guess they're equivalent as well.
Good, David. So this property is called the distributive property. The distributive property says that these two formulas have the same truth values, and in particular, if there is B and C inside the parentheses with a disjunction between them, and A is outside the parentheses with a conjunction between them, then we can move A inside the parentheses by first writing A and B, and then writing A and C, and taking the disjunction of the two.
We can also think of this as distributing the part outside both the predicate and the operator into both the ones on the inside. We take the A and apply it to B, so A and B. We take the A and apply it to C, so A and C. And we preserve the operator in between B and C, in between the two new parentheses. So if this had been A or B or C, this would become A or B or C. If this had become A and B and C, and would be all the operators here.